Computer Chronicles is brought to you by BigStar.com, with thousands of videos and DVDs for the whole family. Additional support by TechWeb for up-to-the-minute technology news. And by TVA, Television Associates, bridging the worlds of computers and video with DVD authoring and MPEG encoding services.
Hi, and welcome to this special edition of the Computer Chronicles. We're here in Palm Springs, California this week to bring you coverage of Upside's Showcase Conference, a look at new products and services for the Internet. While it's probably true that it's too late for anybody to become a Yahoo now, it was also pretty clear at this conference that there are many interesting and exciting new ways to use the Internet.
Expert City is an online community full of experts.
Who wouldn't like to have instant access to a computer expert? Well, a new website called Expert City is doing just that. On this site, you can hook up with a live person who will solve your computer problem in real time. It's sort of a tech support mart where you can shop for experts, review their ratings and their charges, and then go to work on solving your problem. What's really cool about Expert City is their technology that allows the expert to actually take remote control of your computer. So they don't only tell you how to do something, they can actually do it for you. The site offers whiteboard capabilities and a live chat window so you can talk and work at the same time. Image ID has come up with a very clever approach to marketing photos. When you enter a theme park, you get these color wheels for you and your family, which uniquely identify you. Then as you move about the park, you get photographed by park employees on the various rides and activities. You then can go to a photo kiosk at the park or to their website after you get home and see all the photos that were taken of the people in your group. You can order the pictures online or email them to friends and relatives. The secret is their smart picture technology, which can essentially barcode you with your Image ID sticker. The folks at SuperSig have a good idea. There is actually still some real estate on the net that isn't being used for commercial purposes, all that white space in your email. So they have software that lets you create mini web pages in the form of banners in an email. The SuperSigs act just like web pages and can hold dynamically created content and links.
And through any web browser like Internet Explorer or Netscape Navigator.
Aladdin from Sage Systems lets you use the web to control appliances in your house. From any web browser, you can turn the lights on or off, read utility meters, or eventually program your VCR. With always-on internet connections becoming more common, a company called Zone Labs is offering Zone Alarm, a way to protect your privacy. Since being on a broadband connection means your PC is now essentially a terminal on a big network, Zone Alarm lets you build a virtual firewall to keep hackers from getting information off your computer. VU.com is a very clever new site that lets you protect intellectual property on your website so that people cannot steal your words, your graphics, or your pictures. Using the VU software, you can lock out certain elements of a web page so that others can't save it, print it, or email it. Since VU can control access to online content, sites like the NFL can offer better quality images without fear that they'll be stolen. This is a smart pen, literally. It has gyro electronics inside, which measure the pressure, force, and acceleration when you sign your name. Once you've written your signature, no one else can forge it, even if they trace your signature. With this new approach to biometric identification, only you can gain access to secure documents and gateways. And are you tired of having to remember a dozen user IDs and passwords? Welcome to vGoat, where they'll store all your alphanumeric ID information and let you access it with a simple graphical password. Pick the right combination of icons, and you are automatically logged on to any site which requires a password.
About half of the people in the United States still don't own a computer or use one at home, and partly that's because they are still so complicated to use. From what we're seeing here at Showcase, it seems pretty clear that the future platform for accessing the Internet may not be the PC at all, but a new breed of information appliance.
This is a great example of the new generation of information appliances. It's called the Eye Opener, I as in Internet, from a company named NetPliance. It comes pre-configured, just plug in the phone jacks and you're surfing the web. It has a web-friendly keyboard so that you can go to main areas on the web just by hitting one key. You can even order pizza online with this special pizza button. Even its shopping sites are organized in a friendly mall metaphor. A company called iReady has designed a chip that can web-enable any ordinary appliance. With iReady, you can turn your telephone answering machine into a web appliance that can forward your voicemail messages to your email account. You can also web-enable a fax machine so that faxes are forwarded to the net as email. Little devices like this Nintendo Game Boy can become web appliances. Once web-enabled by iReady, this Game Boy can go online and upload high scores into a master list created by players around the world. Even Tickle Me Elmo can become a web appliance with iReady, with the ability to download new voices and new phrases from the net. Of course, the ultimate information appliance is the television set. During a presentation to the attendees here at Showcase, Oracle CEO Larry Ellison talked about the virtues of simple network appliances like the TV and the telephone.
You don't back up data on your telephone, do you? You don't upgrade software on your television, do you? Every network in the world works exactly the same way. Centralized complexity, consolidated, where it can be professionally managed, huge economies of scale, then a simple access device. Only the personal computing industry, only the computing industry had this other notion. What we really need are tens of thousands of little itty-bitty servers all over the place with little parts of your data. And then you can kind of reassemble that data somehow like a puzzle. And then everybody, because they love computing so much, should really install their own different pieces of software on their desktop. Because when you get home, you don't have to spend time with your kids or eat or read a book. What you want to do is go home and back up data.
Liberate is a new software company that Oracle has spun off. It builds software for set-top boxes that turns an ordinary TV set into an interactive terminal.
It supplies an HTML, JavaScript, and eventually Java engine on the device that can be used for all sorts of things. It can be used to interpret and deliver data delivered in the broadcast signal, like in the vertical blanking interval of an analog signal, to deliver, for instance, Play Along with Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, or the Weather Channel broadcasts 24 hours a day content that works with this interactive platform. So instead of waiting 20 minutes for your local forecast, you can interactively put in your zip code and it gives you your forecast today. Or streaming stock tickers. Instead of looking at all of the stocks in the world and waiting for yours, which only trades when it trades 10,000 shares, you could instead customize a streaming ticker on your TV below CNBC or CNN-FN that would show only your stocks and their current trades.
Liberate's focus is on enhancing television viewing, not turning your TV into a PC substitute.
We strongly believe that this isn't about replacing PCs. In fact, we think many homes will have both PCs and interactivity and internet connectivity on a variety of devices in the home. We're not trying to do things like word processing or spreadsheets on television or make the television your primary web browser. We think people will still use PCs for a lot of those things. So part of our principle of information appliances is to enhance the primary function of the device. So we try to make TV more fun and more informative, more entertaining and more productive, rather than trying to replace PCs.
One application that advertisers are really hot for is called T-commerce. Yes, T as in television. E-commerce is old stuff now.
All of us have been watching a television show and had an ad come up and it say, call this number right now. Well, for that matter, we've been on QVC, watching QVC or the Home Shopping Club, and decided that we want to buy it, but we don't want to get off the couch. I suspect that if you actually make that process easier, and I actually think what you have to do is you have to put an electronic wallet in there that tracks this and sets everything up so that it becomes a one-button click. Then T-commerce, I think, potentially has an opportunity to break loose.
Liberate is also the software engine that is powering AOL TV, AOL's new effort to expand its services beyond the desktop PC.
AOL Mail, AOL Instant Messages, Buddy Lists, and just a whole lot of new AOL content around television. In other words, this is not simply going to be classic AOL on the PC ported to television. They have a lot of people working on original content that is TV-oriented content. So I think people will be surprised when they see how much effort AOL has put in to making a great TV experience.
The TV is one model for the client device of the future. The other one is the telephone.
I think that when you look at these guys, the web-enabled cell phones, I've been looking at these things for the last several months, and I think they're not ready for prime time. What I saw at the show is indication that they will soon be ready for prime time. Companies like vVocal that allows you to talk into your cell phone and to get data back on the screen. Companies like Askabout that is trying to make it an easier interface and provide more relevant data. I think that's a big trend. Wireless access is going to be a huge trend.
Once you can access the web from anywhere on a PDA, a phone, or a TV set, what you can do on the web also changes.
I've really been struck at this show in particular about how the services are now coming to the internet. In the past it's been information finding and that sort of stuff. But now they're getting down to things, everything we've seen this morning, from posting sonograms onto the web so you can see the kid before he's born, all the way to wheeling a casket in and showing how you can bury someone on the web now. How to get your used car inspected, how to sell it, how to hit a button and order a pizza. These are services that are coming to the consumer in a way that I haven't seen before.
The problem with the phone, the PC, the PDA, and the TV is that they may all contain separate bits of information about your life. So the new technology challenge is to integrate all of them.
In the business user who must travel or is in a position where they have to manage data. I mean, even individuals where they have some information at the office on a desktop, another one at home, and another one on a laptop, already have understood that real need. And when you start going eventually to where you have multiple appliances, information appliances within the house, as well as access to all kind of outside information, you know, that problem of keeping everything current, keeping everything on the same page is going to become very big. And I actually think that the whole concept of synchronizing disparate devices so that they all reflect the same information thread is going to be very, very important going forward.
One big player in all of this is AT&T, now a phone company and a TV cable company. AT&T's Chief Technology Officer, David Nagel, says creating a friendly user interface for all these devices is the holy grail at AT&T.
The holy grail is stuff that people can actually use and will.
And the answer to that is?
Well, I mean, that's the general problem. Everything that we do is, it's very easy to over-engineer things, and engineers engineer, and often we engineer systems that are so complicated or are not useful, or both. And really, frankly, as you invent this stuff, or as you see people that work for you invent this stuff, in the back of my mind always is, will someone really find it useful, and will they be able to use it?
If the TV and the telephone are changing, so certainly is the stereo. Jerry Kirby is the CEO of Liquid Audio. They've created a new standard for digital music that is about to replace MP3.
Well, MP3 is a data compression format that's become sort of the poster child for the concept of lack of intellectual property protection. In fact, MP3 is a 5-year-old data compression scheme, and it sounds pretty darn awful by today's standards. So it was a sort of, the genie got out of the bottle when a German research institute put the encoder source code up on the net, and that's how this whole thing happened. But in terms of sound quality, it's not particularly very good at all.
The new MP4 format, along with the new SDMI standard, the Secure Digital Music Initiative, will create an internet music business which consumers and musicians will be happy with.
Everybody from individual artists to artists like Tori Amos have sold with Liquid Audio's format. What it gives you is, as an artist, is the ability to log on, change your pricing, decide what retailers you're going to put your music on, basically all the distribution control you need to be in business of selling music. The artists love Liquid Audio. You know, I give away this T-shirt that says, "They're playing your song, don't you want to get paid?" And they do want to get paid. I mean, you know, the notion of MP3 and music should be free is not realistic to an artist who's struggling like crazy to, you know, to pull in an extra $500-600 a month. I mean, Liquid Audio is at least a car payment for these guys if they're selling anything at all.
The new SDMI standard is being used by Sony, which is about to introduce this new digital music player. It features great sound, plus the ability to trade music files through a memory stick. However, you cannot recopy the music from the stick to another computer. The advent of a secure digital music format is going to change the music business even more than MP3 did.
I think the CD model is going to change. I don't think the CD format is dead at all, because look at all the installed base. I think that you'll be able to walk into a store in a couple of years and manufacture your CD right there on site. So the inventory issues are going to get a lot easier for the record labels. But I think in general, the album format may be starting to die. In other words, it used to be that an artist had to complete 10 songs before they could get any revenue. Now, with Liquid Audio, you finish a song, you put it on the net, you're making money.
All of this new technology, from personalized websites to personalized CDs, means more control for the consumer, even over television.
People are going to have a lot more control over their viewing. I think what that's going to do is that's going to change programming, and it's going to change advertising. The ability to skip over advertising means ads have to be more interesting. They have to be more compelling. And I think that's going to drive T-commerce and advertising there. Programs have to be more compelling to attract the viewer who just doesn't sit down and say, I'm going to watch what comes on linearly, but I'm going to instead watch what I programmed to watch. And so I think that first it'll be more personalized. Secondly, it will be more enhanced, meaning you can, at your desire, if you're watching a football game, get more statistics right on the TV tailored to what you want. Play along with game shows if you're a big game show fan. If you're watching soap operas, get the plot line to date on your TV so that you don't know, so you know what's going on when you start the soap opera. So I think all of those things will be available.
Just about everyone agrees that today's traditional internet search engines don't do a very good job. What we're really seeing here at Showcase is a new generation of information retrieval tools that do a much better job of finding exactly what you're looking for on the net.
This is an incredible new search tool from Insight Software called the Site Lens Studio. It creates a 3D view of the information on a website or a group of websites, so you can graphically see the relationship between all the elements of the site. Just click and grab a category, and you can pull up levels of greater detail or go backwards to higher level categories. Octopus is a brilliant new search engine which does a lot more than just search. It actually assembles the results of a search and grabs relevant information from different websites and presents you with a user-friendly summary of all the information you were looking for. This is Bullseye 2 from IntelliSeek. It's a high-level search tool which goes out looking for data on multiple search engines at once, but it does more. It then evaluates the data, eliminates irrelevant hits, and even drops sites which have bad links. This little gadget is the iTag from a company called Zenote. With the iTag, you can simply point it at a radio, for example, and the device automatically captures information about what was playing on the radio station at that time. You can then go to their website and pull down details on the name of the song and the artist, even click right on Amazon to go buy the CD. Searchbutton.com is a great new online service that lets you add an internal search engine to your website for free. Once you search enable your site, visitors can look for relevant information without ever leaving your site, even though the actual search is taking place on Searchbutton.com's server. Many of these new web customization tools are available now at little or no cost to small businesses, making it easier for them to compete.
I think there are a lot of neat tools for letting small businesses really get services on the web, put their websites up, design things that really make them look like big businesses, and I think that's very important. You can see in everything from, personalization, which used to be things that only big sites could do. Now you have companies like Trivata out there, which are offering an ASP-based personalization service so that you can go out and you can basically rent the service and do networked personalization.
Spot On takes a whole different approach to giving your site a unique look. Spot On enables web servers to navigate through different web pages or websites using the metaphor of a media player. Spot On lets you actually play through websites as if they were songs, go forward, backward, rewind, etc. Annotate.com is another innovative approach to gathering information on the web. Annotate calls their tool a find engine because it proactively goes out and brings you links which you may not have found do your own search, but which may be relevant to what you're looking for. Data Beacon from Internetivity grabs HTML information from a website and transforms that complex data into easy-to-understand visual representations.
And we're seeing a whole
One of the major moving forces behind this shift from PCs to information appliances is Oracle's Larry Ellison. 4 years ago, he took on Microsoft and Bill Gates and challenged the whole desktop PC model.
Bill Gates' vision of little Windows NT servers and little databases in every doctor's office and every retail store is fundamentally as flawed as every house having a power generator and a well and a rifle.
Ellison says the internet has proven that his utility model is right. He says today's e-commerce sites have shown that today's corporate computing model is outdated.
Let's say Amazon.com had decided to sell books not using the internet style of computing, which is a big server in Seattle running an Oracle database, by the way, free advertisement here, and an application right next to, also on a big server. So when they put that application up on the internet, instantaneously everyone on the internet had access to the application. That's not how most corporate networks work. And a corporation, and still a lot of applications, the way you get access to applications is not to log on to the internet, but to install a floppy disk or a CD-ROM in your PC.
Ellison says sites like Amazon could only exist in a world of network-based applications as opposed to the older client-server model.
Imagine Amazon had gone that route. They'd have to send out 40 to 100 million floppy disks or CD-ROMs to introduce book buying. And then they suddenly said, oh my God, let's sell movie DVDs. Another 100 million have to go out. Oh my God, there's a bug in the program. Another 100 million go out. It's an absurd notion, just absolutely absurd, putting programs on computers for Amazon.com. But if it's absurd for Amazon.com, it's absurd for corporations or just about everything else.
There was considerable discomfort among the attendees here at the Showcase conference about going back to what some see as the mainframe model. Ellison says they're wrong.
There were some good things about mainframe computing. The good thing about mainframe computing was that the simple terminal you had to access information and to access application programs didn't require data backup, it didn't require software upgrades. That was goodness. There tended to be a small number of very large databases. You get access to your information all over the world for the handful of people who had these computers because they were very expensive. Unfortunately, the user interface wasn't very elegant. And the mainframes were incredibly complicated to program. So there are good things about mainframes and bad things about mainframes.
Ellison says the internet has proven the value of the network computing model and the value of web-based applications.
The interesting thing about the internet is it takes the best of mainframe computing, getting complexity off the desktop and onto the network where it can be professionally managed. But it does it on inexpensive hardware. It preserves an elegant multimedia user interface. And internet applications are even easier to program than PC applications. So it's, again, the very best of mainframe computing, centralized complexity, with the very, very best of personal computing, low-cost hardware, beautiful user interface, and very easy to program.
Despite Ellison's strong advocacy of a shift away from PCs and toward information appliances, not everyone agrees with him.
I think the info appliances are going to play a role. Just like we have transistor radios that we listen to at the beach, it doesn't mean we give up our stereo system at home. There are going to be information appliances, but I do not agree with Ellison that the computer as we know it is going to go away. People still are going to want local storage. They're still going to want some software. There's going to be a room for that. Ellison's extreme position that PCs have almost no value will not be accepted.
Another concern among the attendees here at Showcase was the inability to do robust computing tasks on a network terminal.
What about a Photoshop editing type thing? You can't do that. He admitted you can't do that on a network appliance. So some applications, sure, but I don't think it's going to take over. I think PCs are going to be around for a number of years, but we're going to see portable appliances. We're going to see people buying appliances to put in their kitchen, put in their car, and I think if Ellison is clever and is adaptive, he'll find a way to take advantage of that. He already indicated that he's going to be doing software for cell phones. That's very smart of him. But to try to take over the PC, I think he's going to lose that battle.
Another concern with Ellison's network computer model is privacy and security. But Ellison argues that the least reliable computer is your standalone PC.
Do you want to compare how often the AT&T network goes down versus how often your PC goes down? What's more reliable, the network and big Oracle servers on the network or your PC? People say, well, I'm worried about security and privacy. Well, the Oracle database is used by the Central Intelligence and the Defense Intelligence Agency, and even MI5 and MI6, the British Intelligence Agency, even the Russians use the Oracle database to ensure data is kept private. Your data is more private, more secure, more reliably available when it's on a network than when it's on your desktop hard drive.
But despite the logic behind Ellison's argument, one technology trend is moving in the opposite direction. All the interest in better user interfaces, and speech recognition in particular, may mean more rather than less interest in full-blown, high-power PCs.
You know, there's a lot of people that said we're in the post-PC era, but the bottom line is to really get voice to the kind of recognition we want, you actually need a more powerful PC. You need the megahertz processing in the 700 to 1 gigahertz range in order to get us to the point where we really get more quality and much more of the true speech recognition and speech navigation. And so what I actually think you'll see is you might probably going to see some form of a resurgence here where people are going to finally realize that there is going to be an important level of processing that's necessary in order to enhance speech.
Larry Ellison started pushing the idea of the thin client network computer several years ago and even started a company to sell them, NCI. But the idea and the company was a flop. Now, for the first time, Ellison explains why he believes it failed.
The desktop machine was being built by Digital, and it turns out that there were some phone calls between Bill Gates and the then CEO of Digital, and suddenly Digital stopped making network computers. Our biggest supplier just went away. So, and I've had conversations with Bob Palmer, and it's very clear what happened. Microsoft really didn't want any network computers around, and they had so much sway with manufacturers, they were able to shut it down.
That's it for part one of our special coverage of Showcase. Next week, we'll talk with Sam Donaldson of ABC News about his new webcast show, and we'll look at many more new Internet applications and services. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Stewart Cheifet at Upside's Showcase Conference in Palm Springs, California.
The Computer Chronicles is brought to you by BigStar.com, with thousands of videos and DVDs for the whole family. Additional support by TechWeb for up-to-the-minute technology news. And by TVA, Television Associates, bridging the worlds of computers and video with DVD authoring and MPEG encoding services.
To purchase a videotape copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-310-7850. Please specify the show number and the topic.